Oh, maybe it's okay. No signal.
But I think we switched things here already. So restore.
Another one. The second one.
A studio?
No, and then this one.
The video is also one of those here.
Maybe did we change it on one?
Yeah, we tried this here.
This
I
one?
think this is something different.
Can we try it?
Yeah, sure.
We don't have. There's no. It could be the adapter situation that we have going.
Can we download it? Can you?
I can email him the link. I don't know how fast it will come. That's the only problem. I can forward the link maybe.
Can you forward the link?
Yeah.
Maybe open up the email and you can type in the email.
Jer smo kao prebacili tri pa kao idemo pokušati.
Yeah, I'm not really connected at the moment.
Sa nekom, šta god staviš moraš imati onaj konverter.
Da, aj sad samo
Do you have an email, and then I can forward this to.
This home.
Okay.
Of a MacBook.
Yeah. So if we forward your email here, and then maybe that will. As long as the email goes through fast, then we're okay. Is this German keyboard is really annoying.
You don't have a number 2?
My other laptop is a North American keyboard, and it's easy to find Shift 2, and then this is Function, Option.
It's because of a MacBook. I have the same problem. I love Mac everything, but it's very hard connect with other things.
Yeah,
Television
just don't
and
want it
everything.
to. Yeah. Nick usually does it for me, so he's my technical expert.
Hello.
Yeah, well. Well, if I turn to you and say, I'm talking to her, then she can't hear me. If I turn to you and talk to her, then she can't hear me.
No, what more? What you saying? You didn't get what I was saying.
I heard what you said.
Okay.
I'm not going to take that as an insult.
Okay, so he can download those files and we can watch.
It should be. It should be.
So this computer can go?
I think so. As long as the email's gone through.
But it was only a link, right? Not the file.
No, it's just the link.
Okay, we can maybe think about starting with it.
Well, the problem is
I could do that.
Okay.
Then we can maybe.
I can start with the warm-up, flick things and start into something, and then.
Nice wheelchairs. Oh, lefty. Lefty. Oh, tricky, yeah. Hard to defend.
Download.
Janet.
Yeah. And then if you click on the link, then it will download that one file. So here, down here, there's a link. Yeah. And then it needs to download, but it should go fairly quickly. It's small. Halfway.
Okay.
Thank you.
Maybe it'll be okay.
There we go. We can open that now, and then. Open. Yeah, perfect. It's too difficult in this.
I think someone waiting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's going.
I think, yeah, he's got it downloaded now, and he just has to open it. Maybe you can. Oh. I think we should start with the video. Can you maybe just make sure that he's.
Maybe open it up beginning of the time.
Oh, over there?
I just realized it.
Is it Davo? Do you have the whistle? Do you have the. Okay, we're going to get started. If you guys can come over here, we're going to start in a second with a little bit of video.
Ajde, hoćete da imate stolice. Marko, ponestam ti stolice, neki mogu sjesti ovi što stoje. Ovi što se patiču.
Okay, so today we're going to focus a little bit more on offense, but before we get into actually what's happening on court, we're going to look at a little bit of video, some clips from the things that we worked on yesterday, some examples. We're not going to go into too much detail. I just want to show you a little bit, and then also what we're working on today. So a little bit of defensive things and a little bit of offensive things, sometimes at the same time, because it's just easier to see that way. And then it was also, Milan suggested that Croatia might like to see some press clips, so there are a couple examples of two different types of presses. We just want to let you guys see them, just to see examples of them from games that we played this year. They're actually, I think, almost all from the same game against Wiesbaden. And then the last clip is actually a highlight from our one-pointer, because as we talk about offense, it's really important that we recognize what our athletes are capable of. And we have a one-pointer who is very good. And just to show you an example, a highlight from him this season as a bit of an example. So I think we can probably, if you guys can, move a little bit closer, because it's fairly small and it's easier to see. Huh? Yeah. I just need the chair because it's really annoying to sit in the. Oh, now, except now you move the whole projector. So maybe just pull it back. Okay, so yesterday we talked about yo-yo defense, and so the first two clips, first three clips are yo-yo defense, and I'll just rewind it so we can see. So this time we're looking at the far side here with Mattis and Rose, and watch how physical Mattis is with the guy who's trying to set the screen. And that makes Rose's job a lot easier. And you can see how far they actually extend. They know each other very, very well. So that helps a great deal as to how far they can go out. And you can't hear it, but they are talking all the time. So Rose goes quite far out, as without the ball here, she goes out. She's all the way out, but because Matas, I'm pointing at the wrong place, sorry. She's all the way out here, but because Matas has good chair contact on, this is Stephen, he can't set a screen on Rose, and he also doesn't really try.
Jenna, we would like to make it a little bit bigger.
Okay,
The
yeah.
table a little bit back.
No, it just said digital zoom.
And you
so
can maybe zoom.
let me try just.
Can you zoom into the video?
I'll try, yeah.
No, wait, maybe this will.
Just,
Yeah. But this also makes it bigger, right?
but it won't always be.
Da? Wait,
I can't.
It says that here you can do zoom.
But yeah, the thing is that it changes each time. I don't know if I can't.
Yeah, we'll
zoom.
leave it like this. It's okay,
Yeah.
everybody.
I know it's small, but that's unfortunately what happens with most videos because you have to get the whole court. So on Stephen there, Rose is all the way out, but because he keeps that contact and he stays physical, she's able to recover back in. All the way out, and they're very, very far apart. Line, but that's what happens when you get players that have played together for a long time and who communicate and know each other well. You can then really get closer to making a mistake. I mean, if Rose goes a little bit farther or Matas goes a little bit farther, then Stephen is able to set a pick or go to the basket. Okay, and same on the other side this time. Here we have Julian and Tommy, and we'll see at the end of this clip they actually do go a little. Tommy doesn't recover all the way in, but because it's right as the shot goes up, and we put enough pressure on that, unfortunately Mikey airballs, but there's no rebound, there's no offensive rebound, we get a little bit lucky. But it works for us in this situation quite well. So here Julian's pushing out, Mikey goes low, Tommy goes low, he comes back, and then Mikey unfortunately misses. Sorry, it's just, why won't it stop? It won't stop. Sorry. Yeah, so there Tommy doesn't recover all the way in on the post. And here, and the big guy goes to the basket, but it works out in the end. Okay? I'm not sure why I can't stop this anymore, but here we have the same side. Okay, there we go. With Yannick and Julian. In our game plan, our goal was to yo-yo Mikey as much as possible because he likes to move a lot with the ball. So even though he's a very good shooter, we decided we weren't going to jump him right away because we didn't want to risk giving up offensive opportunities for them on the other side. So it was a tactic of ours in this game to try to make it as difficult as possible. Did it always work? No, as we will see on this one, as good players do. They're yo-yoing. Julian's a little bit too late, and Mikey hits the shot. Okay, so will it always work? Will your game plan always be 100% no? But you have to decide what you're going to give up and what you can live with. And in this situation, yeah, we gave him a shot, but his shooting percentage overall was not so good in this game, and that was our goal. Okay, one thing we didn't talk a lot about yesterday, but I wanted to show you, is jumping and recovering. The reason for that we didn't talk about it is because it's something that is tough to do. You need quick, good defenders. And if you look on, this time we're on the close side of the court here, with Payman number 7 and Quinton number 11. And Quinton, we talked about him yesterday as one of the best defenders in the world. And you'll see here how he gets out and doesn't get picked. He's out on the player with the ball. In this case, it's also Mikey again, and he doesn't get picked. So he jumps out, and he's just moving all the time, back and forth, and doesn't get picked. And then he recovers back in, so we don't have to jump. Sorry, I messed that up again. Here, where are we? Here, it's this one. So he jumps out, he moves his chair, he's staying with his defender, not letting his defender go to the basket, not letting his defender shoot, and now he's recovered back in. Okay? And Payman's also trying to be physical with this player to make that possible so that he can't set a good pick. And we'll see the second one here is an example of this again, the jump and recover, again with Rose and Mattis, and you'll see how physical Mattis is with the picker so that he can't set an easy screen. It'll be on the other side. You can see number 9 and number 15 on the far side there. So here Mattis is always sort of pushing and bumping the picker. They can't get set, so they can't set that screen. That one was very quick. I'll go back. And Rose goes out. Oh, no, sorry. Not far enough. So here, Rose goes out. And then as soon as she realizes Mikey's going to make the pass, she starts to recover back in again. She doesn't stay out too long, and that makes that a little bit more possible. Okay, again, it's the communication, it's being physical, and that's something you can work towards with your team.
Okay. We always have a big focus on where we should go out and whom we should jump. But what makes the players really great is how quickly they can recover. Because when they're outside, we always have numbers against us, right? They always play 5 against 4. But if they're smart and good to get back in, and if they have the support of their teammates, like here our big guy number 9, he puts so much pressure on the picker that they cannot set a good pick, and that helps his teammate to come back in. That is really important. So recovering all the time is a big thing, that we can play 5 on 5 and not 5 against 4.
And it's what we talked about in our chair skills at the beginning with the quick hands, moving your hands all the time and being quick with your hands. That is a really important part to being able to recover back in quickly.
And mentally, right? Know what your job is. If your job is to make the shooter dribble, and then once they dribble, you start recovering, you have your mental goal set in advance, right? And you know what to do. But we often see people who are just jumping, and then they're just staying there outside because they don't really have a good cue or an idea what to do. But they felt, their coach said, put pressure, and they're staying out there, but then they get picked somewhere, and then we're in trouble, right? Because then we have to rotate, and then we have to bring help, and we'll always have that numbers against us somewhere.
Okay, we'll look here. The next couple clips are pick and roll, and then we'll look at pick and roll against the triple switch, and there we'll also look at the triple switch defense. So it's just to try to combine things a little bit with the clips. Pick and roll is what we'll work on today. And we'll see that here again with Mattis and Rose on the far side up there on offense. The reason the pick and roll works so well here is because they don't have a help rotation. And a help rotation is when we talk about triple switch, where that defender can come and help. And here, because of what's happening away from the ball, so with our 3 offensive players away from the ball, they don't have a defender ready to help, and the pick and roll is then successful. Okay. So they're trying to yo-yo, and then they go out, and then Mattis and Rose unfortunately Rose misses, but Mattis cleans up the mess at the end, which is always good when you got a big guy like that. Okay, and then on this side again, because we have so much going on away from the ball, they're really worried about this side. They don't have help to come over here. They're worried about Tommy as a shooter. Tommy's number 13. We've talked about him a little bit. He's the guy that wrote the book, Tommy Boomer. And then the pick and roll with Payman on this side. And we'll work on that quite a bit today. Pick and roll positioning and how to play an effective pick and roll. Okay, now we're going to look at this side, these 3. Okay, the 3 defenders. More specifically on this clip to talk about our triple switch, because honestly I look for triple switches in our team, and we don't run a traditional triple switch that often, so it's hard for me to find clips, but other teams do it. So this is the Wiesbaden defense here that I want you to watch. Mikey goes out. He does a really good job. He forces Tommy to go towards the baseline. He recovers over, and then Jim comes over and picks up this player, and Kai here is pressuring out. So he picks up. We have the rotation. Mikey's still recovering back to Rose, but he gets back in time that Rose doesn't get a look at a good shot. Okay, I mean, Mattis gets the mismatch, but that's a different point altogether. Okay, again, same thing here. We're looking at this power side Tommy, Julian, and Yannick is in the middle, and I have a feeling that's why they do this, but you can see what happens when a defender is too aggressive with the jump, when they don't recover. We just saw how Mikey recovered really well, and he got back to the shooter in the middle, and here he doesn't do that. He goes too far. You can see here he pushes past, and he goes all the way here out to Mikey, out to Tommy to try to get a hand up. I'll go back a little bit. See, normally we would say, oh, come on now, play. Now it's not gonna. It didn't. Okay, here, right now, he should turn and recover like he did the last time. But he doesn't. He keeps pushing. He turns his chair in. Jim's already coming over to help, and now there are 3 defenders over here, and Yannick is wide open in the middle. And that's actually a very good shot for Yannick. He misses this one, but that was an offensive look that we were very, very happy with. And over here you can actually see on this side, we also have somebody picked out, so we have a 2-on-1 away from the ball. So in this play we have a lot of offensive options, but then Yannick gets the ball. He misses the pass to Rose, but Rose picks up the offensive rebound.
Yeah, please make sure when you have your players working on that, when they jump, that they know what to do. Because Mikey also rolls his hand out there, and when you have a defender who puts his hand away from the wheel, you know it will take him so much longer to recover back, right? Because then he has to put his hand down, he has to spin his chair, and you just create problems. The players need to know what their job is. If their job is that the shooter is turning their chair and putting the ball to the floor, job done, right? You might not go there. It might be just because you're going this way, the offense reacts to that, and then boom, your job is done, recover back in, and the other guys rotating through and they have the next things to do. But that you want to save time on all these things. Everywhere where you can collect half a second, you're winning, right? Your defense will be more and more dominating.
Okay, and this last one, it's again that side of the court, but here the focus is a little bit more on the offense, and this is something that we're going to work on today, because when a defense is able to rotate quickly, like we saw in that first clip, then they're very, very effective. But what is important as an offensive player is to slow the rotation of the defense. And here we'll see Julian here slow Mikey's rotation. He doesn't let him recover back to the middle, and that opens up a shot in the middle for Rose. So Mikey here, he's gone out. Now he's already turning to recover back. The first one he did, I think, was probably a little bit quicker, but this one's still a lot faster than the last one he did, where he got kind of stuck out there, turned the right way. But you can see Julian, instead of going to the basket here, Julian is now looking to pick Mikey properly. He's looking to sort of follow Mikey and get a pick on him. Jim is already coming over to help because he's worried about Julian going to the basket. Rose is ready. She's all set to catch the ball, which is also another big, really important thing. Over here we have our defense. Our offense is attacking their defense, so they can't help from this side of the court. Nobody would leave Mattis alone there anyway. But you can see here, Julian has now 2 players guarding him because Jim wants to help Mikey recover back in. Julian's not letting him, and now Rose is wide open in the middle. And as a shooter, that's a very, very good shot for Rose from the middle. Okay, she hit that one. Okay, so those are, we'll talk a lot about that pick and roll and that stopping the recovery today in practice. That will be one of our big focuses. We'll do 2-on-2, and then we'll work on 3-on-3 as well in the pick and roll. Okay.
Probably often have big players in your team that want to crash to the hoop all the time, right? They always want to go to the basket. But it's so important that the big guys understand the team concept of it, right? We want to get the best possible shot from any of those 5 players. We're always thinking, where are the chances and the percentages the highest for the best shot? And that needs big guys to just be patient to hold those picks, let the ball move around, and then crash at the right time. But often big guys just like going around, they see a little bit of a hole, and then they get stopped and nothing happens, and your whole offensive setup is kind of like destroyed.
It's what Mattis was one of those guys at the beginning of the season that would always go straight to the basket. He would hardly look for the contact on that pick. He would look to set the pick, but then straight to the basket. And what I tried to tell him this year is on the first time a team jumps on a side, so the first side where they jump, you have to hold the pick. But if it's off a reversal, so the ball has gone all the way to the other side, a team jumps on the other side, and then we skip the ball or swing the ball over, and then we have another jump, then we can go to the basket a little bit more quickly because the defense hasn't had time to rotate all the way over. So it's learning the timing of it and also reading it. Like Mattis also has to check and see, is there a defender waiting for me in the middle of the key? If there isn't, I can go. If there is, then I have to hold the pick. So those are sort of progressions that you come with as you, depending on how the defense guards you, but also as your team gets to know one another and you know where you're positioned on the court as to how you can attack. Okay, well sorry?
Janet created a concept of spacing for the set offense, where the goal is to make the defense come out wide, holding out wide. That gives us way more opportunities for the offense, right? When we spread out the defense, and that is really important that we hold those picks, that we have patience for that, and that we make the recovery passes for the defenders longer and longer and longer. And that puts so much pressure on the defense, which will create great shots.
So, and now we're going to shift again and go into a press, just because we talked about that a little bit. I wanted to show you some examples. There are a whole bunch of different ways that you can press teams. But one of the things that we tried to do quite often was play a high line. So where we establish all 5 defenders together as high as possible. And that depends on all kinds of factors, how quickly the offensive team recovers, attacks on offense, and where we can establish our line. But here, on this clip here, you can see we're starting to come back, helping each other. Not going for offensive rebounds is a really important part of that. If you want to play that, you cannot go for offensive rebounds because you won't get all 5 players back. Okay. This one we actually have a breakdown in the high line, so it can be dangerous if you're not communicating. And we'll show it here. So we're all in. We're playing. We've got good position. We've got a nice flat line. And then even 2 players who know each other as well as Mattis and Rose can see on this side we're doing okay. Now Rose goes out and gets chair position contact on Kai, which isn't always what we want, but then Mattis sags in. So they open up a big gap and a picking angle here, which leads to Rose getting picked out. And now we're attacking we're aggressive on this side, and now we have our low pointer isolated in the middle, which is not optimal. And then we get a breakdown, and they get an easy 2 points. Okay, so we've talked about communication, especially when you're pressing. That's another level where that communication, shoulder checking, awareness, all of it has to be perfect. Otherwise, you will have breakdowns and you will give them easy baskets. It's not like when you have a breakdown and you give up a outside shot because nobody jumped. This one, you're going to give up layups. Okay, but it can also work really, really well. Here we have a slightly different lineup on the court. It's a bit more of a press lineup. You can see here, now we haven't forced them into a turnover. We haven't forced them to do anything bad. But they don't have a single player inside the 3-point line, and it's hard to see, but up here is 12 seconds on the shot clock. So that's what we're going for with a high line press, is take as much time away from the offense as possible so that they don't get comfortable. They can't get to where they want to get to on the court. Because this team, Wiesbaden, when they get into their offensive positions, they are incredibly effective. They can score at a very, very high percentage. So the idea is to not let them get there. Now
Remember we talked yesterday about in the one-on-one shadow and 2-on-2 shadow, we definitely don't want to get beat. We don't want the defender to go by us. We can sag off, right? And sag off, that's not a big problem. And that's what we're doing here. We're starting very high, and then we're getting closer and closer back together. The advantage of that high line, when all the players are playing on one line, is that the court gets narrow, right? Where it's on a diagonal, it's like way longer. And the less space you have to cover, the easier it is to defend, right? That's why we would want to try to stay all in the same line and avoid picking angles.
And it's often that when you're attacking, like if we look at the offense here, attacking the high line, let me go back a bit. Sorry. So there's always somebody behind. You don't have 5 players attacking 5 players all at the same time, or very rarely. And so you can always help each other. And if you don't commit to one player, like we saw in that previous one, Rose went out and she made chair contact on the one player. Everybody else was still dropping, and that created a gap, especially if we didn't talk. But if everybody moves together and drops together and communicates and stays on the same page and takes space away from the offense without overcommitting, then it makes it a lot easier to play that all the way through.
Tell me to shut up if I'm
you're fine.
interrupting too often.
And see here, Mikey has to turn away because he can't go any further. He's got the ball. He can't keep attacking. He doesn't want to run into the defense, so he turns away. That gives us an opportunity here to help each other to recover back in, to make sure we reestablish or keep that line.
Remember yesterday when we were playing 2-on-2 in the corridor, right? We call it 2-on-2 shadow. This drill can be extended. You can go 2-on-2, you can go 3-on-3, right? With a bigger corridor, you can go 4-on-4, and this actually is a drill 5-on-5 shadow over the whole width of the court, right? And that's something you can always practice, and that's what they are doing. And you keep working, and you always find those advantages. One offender is outside curling, so suddenly only 5 defenders have only to cover four people. But they always have to see what is the other guy doing. Is he coming with speed, and when do we have to help?
Okay, you can see it here. Like we get a little bit of a cut. There's some breakdowns, but we rotate, we recover back in, chair contact. Lots of communication, and then they have to rush a shot because they don't get into good offensive position where they can be relaxed and take a comfortable offensive shot. And that's your goal when you play this kind of a defense, is to rush and put the offense under pressure. Take time away from them and then put them under pressure. Okay. So here we have a little bit of a different press. It's the same lineup, but we don't get our line established. You can see they get a couple guys actually right behind. Sorry, I'm pointing at the screen again. I always do that. But now we have 3 players up, and we have 2 players back long. So this press would be more like a 3-up press. But we help each other. We switch and recover. So Tommy goes up on the ball here. Payman comes and picks up this guy. Quinton's here. Mattis is lurking around in the middle. Sorry, sometimes it doesn't. There. And the most important thing when you're being aggressive in a press like this is that you communicate, and when a pick is coming, we say get under the pick, which means you get on your side of the basket of the pick, so that before that pick can get set, you're getting under and you're recovering under. You can still be aggressive, but you don't want to let someone come and set a pick on you. And you can see here Mattis is extended up on 25. 12 is coming across. We still have 2 defenders in, but we don't want Mattis to get caught there in a pick. As Jim comes up, Mattis tries to recover underneath. He actually does get around, and now we've got our 4 players back in. I'm not entirely sure where our 5th player is at this point, but he's somewhere. So we have our 4 are back in and are in our defensive line. Okay. And then on this side, we're being aggressive. This is where Quinton is exceptional with his defense. He reads that Yannick is out and that this offensive player is going around. He comes in and picks up this guy while Payman can go out. Now Tommy's back in, so we've got all 5 defenders. Okay? And now Yannick recovers back into the middle. Everybody's recovering, everybody's talking, everybody knows where they have to go. And unfortunately, we get a foul here, but it's not a defensive foul, it's an offensive foul. It just gets called a defensive foul. But you can see how we're aggressive there, and we're on chairs, we're getting under picks, and it's quite effective in terms of rushing the offense. What it also does is it also makes it very difficult for the offense to get into their perfect position. So often offenses want this player and this player working together on offense on that side of the court. They want this player in the middle on offense, and then they want the other two together. But if you put them under pressure and they're just trying to get up the court, then you'll find that number 5 is supposed to be playing on the right-hand side, but he's over on the left-hand side, and number 10 is over on the right-hand side, and then they don't know what to do with themselves because that's not what they've practiced. Yeah. Here's another press. We have 4 up this time. So we designated Mattis, our big guy, to go back all the time. And so he's back, and our other 4 players are up in the front court. And now they get together in a line, and they're working together. See, nobody's really, like Tommy's up on a chair, but otherwise everybody's just kind of working together, always moving. And they put up a very rushed shot because they don't have a lot of time. And here, this is what the ultimate in a press. What can happen? You get on chairs. It looks very disorganized, but these guys are very good at communicating. And then you get a guy like Tommy guarding the ball. He gets aggressive and he just takes it away because the offense is so flustered, and flustered is like. They're not relaxed, they're not comfortable. They have such a hard time knowing who to give the ball to, where to make a pass. They're worried about the shot clock, and then you have opportunities to attack or here get a steal and go the other way. Okay, and then this one was just for fun. We want to talk today about how all the players should be part of the offense, and you want to make sure that you develop players to the best of their abilities. And one of the best one-point players in the world, him go out, and this is just a little move. We all quite enjoyed it when he did it in the game, in the full court. And you can see the trust that Tommy has in him to pass him the ball as a one-pointer in that situation. I mean, he's very much a 1. Like he's a legitimate 1. He's not one of those ones where you can say, oh, well, maybe he's a 1-5, could possibly be a 2. He's 100% a 1. And to catch that ball in that situation, ball coming from behind him, he catches it, controls it, spins, turns, and shoots it. And that's stuff that they were working on this year with our assistant coach. That catch, control, spin, fade away, we did quite enjoy that as a team. It's something very high level and something very special, but definitely something that players of different classifications are capable of. Okay? All right, so we'll get to everything else now. Any questions while we're here?
Is he really a 1?
He's very much a 1. Yeah, very, very 1.
Very good.
Yeah, you should see the straps. Like, I don't know how his organs even function because he has 2 like weightlifting belts that have no flex, and he pulls them so tight here. Like, I honestly don't know how he breathes, let alone like he's completely. It's almost like he's just. Yeah. He's very, very good. I was trying to keep it reasonably short too, but. That wasn't me, but okay, stick around here for those who are in chairs. Make sure you can still listen and hear. We're going to keep going. No breaks yet. Too early for breaks. Stop blowing a whistle. You're confusing me. Everybody's we're walking away. Where are you guys going?
We're going to give him a break. Okay, let's do a 10-minute break. 10-minute break, okay? 10:05.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, a short break because the half are gone. So
President.
that in Germany, that's a no-go. In Canada too, that's a no-go.
Coffee and everything. Easy life, you know. This is how we're going here.
This is in warm countries. This is what happens. Everyone's
It's hot outside, you know.
It's hot in here.
Yeah, we have a piaka. They call it in the Dalmatian in the cold. Yeah. It's just how we have a piaka. It's like it doesn't matter. It's hot. It's summer. You don't need to do anything. Life is good. Just chill out.
Yeah. I was in. I did some volunteer work in Vanuatu, which is between Fiji and Australia.
Okay, it's hot there.
It's very tropical, very a bit island life. So very. And we were on some of the outer islands. Port Vila is very touristy with like a couple of resorts and where maybe some small cruise ships come. But outside is people live in little huts. There's no electricity. You know, we went for lunch with someone and they killed the chicken and took the feathers out and cooked the chicken on the fire and you know, so that's a very different life.
Yeah.
And we wanted to work with the youth, so the young people from the villages, to help educate, teach them things about sexually transmitted diseases, about all different sorts of things, like good things, but that they could then take those things back to their villages and teach them to other people in their villages. And we would say, okay, we want to meet at 12 o'clock. We have to tell them like 10 o'clock because they'll just wander in at like 2 hours later. It's like, meh. And there are no cars, so they just walk from the next village and they just wander in. And it's just so relaxed and
and you're like, wow.
Well, we knew when you know that it's okay. We were prepared, but yeah, I'm used to when you have a camp.
Work with that, yeah.
But they couldn't imagine that it is.
It's possible to live like that.
Yeah. But they don't have. I mean, they had schools, but other than that, there's not so much work for the people who were there, and you live from the land and.
Yeah, it's a different world.
Yeah. So it's different everywhere.
Yeah, it's a
state of spirit.
Spirit.
Yeah.
Or your soul, or something like that.
Yeah.
You cannot describe that. You just see that and like, yeah, it's Fiaca.
Okay.
But like it's what helped is I didn't know when we came, I didn't know what to expect. So I have themes and ideas of what to talk about, but I didn't make a schedule because I didn't know if we were going to have athletes who were doing it or if we were going to have coaches who were just watching or how we were going to. So I'm very relaxed with it, and it's good to know that's a good way to be.
Good to start.
Not like a national team tryout where like, okay, 10 o'clock to 10:05 is talking, 10:05 to 10:30 is warm up, 10:30 to 10:45 is this drill, then this drill, then this drill, then this drill.
Yeah, I love the streak because there's a discipline, and in this sport you have to have a discipline. This is the main thing, And I always, we have a new teammates, and I will always, okay guys, I'm the only woman in the team. So I'm bitchy, I love it. Boys, I'm like, Lucy's coming, go, Lucy's here.
Well, it's good. I mean, there has to be a certain amount
always
of...
have someone
Yeah. I mean, if you only have 2 hours on court and you start half an hour late because everybody's and then in practice half the team wanders off to get a drink, and then you get nothing done. Then you have an hour on the court, and then why?
You have to know them. I always say that the training is a half hour before because I know they're gonna late.
Yeah.
So like they come, okay, tires, check tires.
Yeah.
I want to see you half hour in the court. Sometimes they listen, but sometimes they just like go in smoke or
How long have you been playing?
7, 8 years,
Okay.
something like that.
And what class are you?
I'm 1.
Okay. Yeah, like
I'm very, very high injury. I
Okay.
have a TH6,
Okay.
and then I have syringomelia. That my good my left side. I don't feel my left side
Okay.
at all,
Okay.
but I have a motoric.
Yeah.
So everything what I do, I have to think about my head, and I have to do like what would I call that? Like sync.
Yep, synchronized,
and,
yeah.
And I always like think, and when I use my left hand, I have to always with my eyes look
Where it is. Yeah.
It's hard, but I just do, the blocks. That's my job. And
Yeah.
when I'm free down there, I do the shot. That's it.
Yeah.
I'll always look where's my high guys and always blocking.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. We had a player with the Canadian national team, and she raced track and field too, and she raced as a quad because she couldn't feel, same as you, she couldn't feel her arms. She could use them, but she couldn't feel them. But she had also spastic in her legs too.
I don't have it.
It was an infection in her spinal cord, so not an accident.
Okay.
So it was a funny injury.
Yeah.
But she was very good with both hands, but she was a quadriplegic, so
It's very hard. I have all the time injury on my head, especially the left. But I love this game. I really
It's
love
fun.
it.
Yeah.
It's very fun. The judges always say that I'm the most aggressive player.
Well, it should be. That's good.
Yeah, because I'm a girl with boys. I have to.
She's got an okay shot. She needs to stay here and not pull back.
Yeah, I always
She shoots and then she pulls back.
like this.
Yeah, and she needs to stay with the hands in the hoop.
Yeah, we have a 2 month, goals.
Yeah, because the most of it's good. It just needs to. She needs to
Just like this.
finish it. Yeah.
2 weeks ago, we have my big dream is to make a national of a girl, and I pushed it like 4 years.
Yeah.
And we have in Prelog, we have a nice place there, gym and everything, and we go there like 3 days, girls, and we connected.
I saw the post, I think, on Facebook because I now
make
with
my
the
reels and everything. So I really push it. I really want to have a national team for girls.
that would be really
Very
cool.
big dream.
Yeah. I knew a girl who came from Latvia, and they didn't have enough girls up there, so they did.
Where she go?
She's from Latvia, so
Okay.
Lapland in German. I don't know what that is.
Does she play now?
She doesn't play anymore. She went to track and field, but it was okay. It's not a bad thing. But for a while, they wanted to see if they could get the countries there to get as many girls together as
yeah.
possible. So maybe like here, with girls from Croatia, from Serbia, from Montenegro, from all over, to
can
practice
make
and come
ones-
together,
yeah.
and then at least have a team where you can go and you can play, and that you have enough players.
yeah, we
Maybe
have
not
a-
a national team, but
We have in our mind, we have 2 maybe players from Serbia, and they're very good. So if we have a chance, if they're very good player, they want to play, we can manage something that they play national. It's possible. It's not impossible, but they have to have a very big wish, and
yeah,
we'll see.
find some able-bodied players who wreck their knee, and then
Yeah, we have 2, 3 able, completely body girls. Without them, they're not. Dora, Lucy, please, here. They're all the time, oh my god.
yeah. Oh no, that was me.
Yeah.
I was always slow.
And we really want 1 or 2 amputee, but they're not in those. They're always in a volleyball.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. Okay, raking.
Okay, we should. Yeah. Baseball bats, tire irons,
And I didn't know you had a young injury.
rugby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But rugby,
Yeah.
able.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a hard sport.
Fun sport. Okay, is everybody here? Okay, let's go. Shadows. Oh yeah. I forget. Thank you. Okay. Come in here a little bit. Okay, we want to talk. Obviously, we said we'd talk about offense today, but shooting is sort of a main part of offense. And having a good feel for the ball, we're going to talk about shooting technique in a minute, and Nick's going to help us out. But one of the things that I love doing when I'm first thing I do when I get in my chair most of the time, and what is a really great exercise for young players, to get a bit of a feel for the ball and for spin on the ball and scoring. Don't sit there because you're right under the hoop. Sorry, Nikolai. Come over here. Sorry, we need the basket for this one. That's a bit dangerous. So what my favorite thing is to just come in the gym and have fun with the ball and the hoop. So you're trying to make a basket, but that's not your whole focus. So you're just sort of chucking the ball up, underhand. It doesn't have to go in wherever the ball goes, just putting it up, grabbing your rebound, just kind of looking like you want to try to, left hand, right hand. And you can do that for sort of 5 minutes right at the start of practice. And if you do that every day, you get a feel for where you are compared to the basket on the floor, how the ball feels, how you can spin it off your hand. And it's not something that you necessarily are going to use a lot in a game, but you never know. You see situations where players get in, they're caught, they chuck a ball up. It does help, but it also gives you a feel for the ball. And that's something that is so important in basketball, especially if you shoot quickly and then grab a rebound and chuck it up. You feel where the ball is on your hands. It's not that perfect. Nick, can I have that ball? It's not that perfect situation where you catch the ball, you get it in your hands, you sit, and then you take your shot. I mean, that's what you do in practice so much. Yeah, it doesn't all the time, though. It's supposed to, but if I could tell the ball to go in, then I would. So you want to put yourself in those situations. Just make it fun, make it enjoyable, let it be entertaining. If there are two of you going around at the same time, that's also okay. Then you're running into one another. It should be a fun exercise for kids or for anybody really, just to kind of get a feel for the ball. Okay. What we want to talk a little bit about too is shooting form and shooting technique, because learning to shoot and then shooting with good shooting technique is just as important in wheelchair basketball as it is in stand-up basketball. Okay, so nothing really changes as far as the end result, like the end of the shot. So from your shoulders, your arms, your elbows, wrist, all that stuff is the same with stand-up. So Nick, I don't think you're a...
Yeah. I would recommend you going on this end.
Because it's a bit quieter? Okay. We're a bit farther from them. Let's go down that side. Oh, do we have to stay? Okay. Nick, we have to stay here because of the camera. Can you not turn it? Oh, but all the boards are here and everything, so we have to stay here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'd like you to. Yeah, and I'll give you the microphone too.
You can explain if you want to.
Okay. Okay, so the reason I've asked Nick to do this is he's taught more shooting than I have. I learned to shoot by watching, and I wasn't really taught. So he has a bit more experience with the technique and teaching the technique. So do you want to?
Yeah, maybe you come a little bit closer.
Because it's loud back there, so it's hard.
So when it comes to shooting technique for the basketball, we have to understand in wheelchair basketball, it's all about the classification, right? It is not that you can say, okay, that's how you shoot the ball. It always depends on whether you're class 1, whether I'm a class 4. I have different stability. She has to work way more with her back wrist. She has a good positioning. You need a good strapping to be able to shoot. What is similar to everybody, you don't want to hold the ball all flat in your hand. You want to have it on your palm, so it's always possible to put a finger, underneath it. So the ball is on the tips, but also on this part here, but not right here, right? You want to make sure you have the one hand behind the ball and the other hand on the side. It's just a guiding hand. Now sometimes when we go into the gym with kids, they don't have enough strength, not enough power. And sometimes you have to give them the credit and they have to shoot with 2 hands. But we learned that from a certain age, everybody will be able to start shooting with 1 hand. And once you work on that, you also create enough power in the 1 hand to be able to shoot one-handed. The big advantage of a 1-hand shot is if with a 2-hand shot the hands are not synchronous, right? It just moves left, right or something. It's harder to control. So you have this hand here, you have the next hand to the side, and creating power is often the path of acceleration, right? So the hardest is if I start here and I just shoot from the wrist, right? I can make it easier by having the ball here and I use all this way to accelerate and just going up. For some kids, I don't know if you heard that, it's the figure 6. They're doing actually this here to make this, because it's all accelerating to be able to shoot and to create power, right? Right? On a high level, we want to make sure we can shoot as quickly as possible. So we generally teach our players, catch it here, and catch it with the hands right that you can shoot it, and boom, you're immediately shooting. But for kids sometimes, and also with new players with a higher disability, they sometimes like to use the ball on the lap to be able to stabilize, right? When you're a little bit like this, and you sometimes see that, and you're going to put that up, and then you start shooting like that. It is for beginners who are not so good with their chair yet. Later on, like Yannick Blair, like so well strapped, and they have all stability. He's just like, okay, you always catch here. So pass, catch, and shoot, because we don't have time, okay, to do that. Now, when it comes to shooting, we're talking about those 90 degrees angles, right? So you have a 90-degree angle here. When you go up, you have a 90-degree angle here. Okay, there will be a 90-degree angle here, and in best case scenario, a 90-degree angle here. And that's what you're kind of like going for. And when you're shooting, or your players are shooting, make sure it's a continuously movement. You don't want to have people who stop here, because then the acceleration path is stopped. You don't want to have people shooting and going back, because then somewhere you have to stop and you go into the front. You want to shoot, and it's kind of like you're in front of the head, so you're looking under the ball, and then you're shooting up high. Yeah. You obviously have you're using your wrist, okay, to have that backspin of the ball. It's a very good way to analyze the basketball, how it's flying, if it has a nice backspin going up. Sometimes you see people who flip their hands a little bit to the side, and it becomes a side throw, which is not really great. That's not what we want to have. What we also want to make sure is if we're shooting, that we keep the hand shortly up in the air. We don't want to flip it back too quickly, right? You don't want to have this here, because you might make mistakes. You want to make sure that you're shooting and you keep it up there for a little bit.
One reference that a friend of mine made for kids especially is that you're putting your hand in the cookie jar to get the cookie at the end. So you're reaching into that cookie jar to get the cookie, and you want to hold that and pick the cookie out with your fingers. So you're extending all the way. That cookie jar is on the top of the fridge or in the cupboard, way up at the edge of your reach. And then you want to pick so that you can't get it if your hand's up like this, or if you do it too quickly, or if you don't extend your elbow, you're not going to be able to get into that jar. So you got to go all the way through and pick it out.
So you want to make sure that you shoot in a high arc, right? You don't want to shoot too flat. The reason is there's a higher chance for the ball to go into the hoop if it comes from higher down than when it comes to flat. And often you can read from the result how the ball goes to the basket. If it bounces a lot in between, it's often when the shot is too flat, right? So you want to make sure you either put it high on the glass, or you go directly, or make sure a little bit high directly.
See, even he doesn't make them all.
Now, this was everything from the belly button up. But now wheelchair basketball, the lower part is also so important. And we have some people who can use strength and power from the legs. Obviously the 4-5. But it goes down to others. When you're shooting, I think you still have your legs on the foot plate, right? And you're using some stability from that. So you always want to make sure whatever you can use, and it's also about strapping your feet, that the lower legs give you stability. And as much as possible, you want to use strength from your core. So you might be sitting a little bit low. You see 3-point shooters, they're sitting a little bit low, but then you go all the way up while you're shooting, right? And this movement here, that is like 4 or 5 centimeters, up to 4 or 5 centimeters, right? That you go up, and it's also where you generate, where you get your strength in there.
You want to generate power from every place you possibly can. So if you have one leg, you can use that leg. You can start by pushing on your foot plate, generate that power. Almost, it's a bit like a wave. It starts there and it comes all the way up through your body, all the way up through your core, and then it finishes in your fingertips. And if you don't have the muscles down there, then you can't use them, but you start where you can. And whatever stability you have that you can transfer into your shot is really important. And if you watch some of the top players in the world, I actually learned by watching Pat Anderson, because nobody told me, nobody explained that how to increase my range on my shot. Nobody told me that specifically, but then I watched him, and if you watch him, you see his body move, and he generates that power and then winds it up and then extends it out into his shot, especially when he's shooting 3-pointers, shots from farther out. And if you can jump out again. And it's so tempting when you sit in a wheelchair to sit kind of, and you see so many even high point players, because they don't have a backrest, they kind of sit like this in their chair. And if you see my back's rounded, I'm sitting here, and then they try to shoot like that, and it's so hard to get power because I can't use anything besides just my shoulders and my wrists. But if I sit up straight and I shoot from up straight, now suddenly I have all the power I need and want, even though I don't really, in there I'm not really using my core to sort of, when I might do that when I'm farther out, but I don't need to close in, because this stability creates power higher up. And then as post players, obviously, when we're shooting from the outside, we'll shoot from here a little bit more, but if you're in here being guarded, and you take your shot from this position, someone's going to block it every time. Like, 1-pointers are going to take this shot away from me. But as I get better, and this is something that needs time, you can shoot a post-up shot from here without bringing that ball all the way down. And it's partly a power thing, but I'm not the strongest. Okay, and it's been a while since I worked on this. But my core is strong, and then I try to use this and kind of bounce, and then bring that. Sorry, that was bad. Can I have the ball again? It's been a while. But there, and you get it kind of You generate that power from here, and that makes it really hard to guard if you're shooting and releasing the ball from up here. A lot of practice, but that's with everything, yeah. It's been 7 years since I sat in a chair and played, so it's been a while, but those are the things that you find the technique and you start in close. So often you'll see young kids come in, they watch the NBA or they watch whatever and they think, oh yeah, I'm going to come in, I'm going to shoot 3-pointers. And then they're out of the 3-point line and they're doing this and their technique is a disaster because they think it's awesome when they hit 1 from 20 shots from outside the 3-point line. They can tell their friends all about it. And it's the same with adults. We think, oh yeah, the 3-point's a great shot. We go out there, we're working on our threes. It starts here. And I remember reading an article one time about Larry Bird. I mean, he's an old school NBAer. A lot of people probably don't remember him. But he said he used to shoot 200 shots.
It's actually transfer because I think that you're starting to increase the volume of your voice.
Yeah, I have to, yeah.
Okay, let's go down there to this end.
It's too bad we're not in there again today. There was good. It was quiet. Yeah, just let me finish my thought there and then.
Sorry for this, but the cameraman asked me because he has a better angle.
Yeah. It's okay. It's fine. So just to finish that thought quickly, Larry Bird said he used to shoot 200 shots before he even shot a 3-pointer. So he used to take 200 shots inside the 3-point line before he even started shooting 3-pointers. And then when he was done with his 3-point workout, he would work back in slowly and finish again with layups. So that you start with form and you finish with form. Okay? I don't know training, but if you talk to the top players as to how many shots they shoot per day, so our guys, our professionals, are over the course of the week, we gave our players a minimum of 2,000 shots a week that they should be shooting. And there are a few of them who will shoot significantly more than that in the course of a week. Obviously, you have to be careful of injuries. You don't want to tell a player when they have a bad elbow that they have to go and shoot 2,000 shots in a week, because then that might make the elbow worse. So you have to be aware of that. But to be a good shooter, you have to be shooting a lot of shots. Every day or every second day, you got to be putting up a lot of shots. Okay, Nick wanted to talk about...
Yeah, we talked now a lot about the core stability of 4-5, but with Nina, we also want to look at people in the range class 1 to class 2, how they're shooting. And you need to get stability in the chair by using the backrest, right? And we want to have a look at Nina when she's shooting. I would like to have the ball to you. And we want to observe what she's doing with the ball. How is she catching it? How she should just do a normal shot. When she stabilizes, okay. See, okay. Yeah. Two more. One more. Do it. Okay. So, what did we see? She was very stable, I think, when she caught the ball. She was ready to shoot right away, which was really great. So she has a very good chair, right? And it seems like the straps fit her very well. I actually do like that you have a spacer between your knees. I think that's actually something that's very well and that makes people very stable, because sometimes when you go with your knees, it's not a natural way, right? You want to create more power by having a little bit of space in between them, and then using a spacer is a good thing.
Can I add to that? It also creates a wider base, especially for lower point players, because as soon as the narrower you are, the tippier you are. We had a player who actually these bars were farther out, and he strapped his knees out against the outer bars, so that then he had a wider base to balance, especially when he was forward. He was much more, he was a very 1-5, his legs were complete noodles, but his stability was better when his knees were out, even though he couldn't use his legs at all. So it is something to think about, especially also with women. Because we are wider in the hips, you can actually put a lot of pressure on your lower back when your knees are together. And if you put your knees apart, you alleviate some of that pressure on your lower back. It's not as common with men just because you're a little bit narrower in the hips and a little bit squarer through in this range. But women, we are shaped like this from the hips to the knees. And if you put those knees out, then you take strain away from the lower back. So think about that. For women with a block between the knees, or from 4-5 to low pointer, it's a good thing to do. Okay.
Nina, is it okay if we correct your shot a little bit with everybody? What do you think? Like, what would you think that Nina should have a look on? Like, what was great, and what is something that she can maybe get some improvements on? Yeah. Say it again. Yeah.
I don't think she has enough backrest for a middle core.
Right now, she was stable. But obviously, we have to deserve players also in the game, right? Because if she comes, it goes around the curve and then takes a shot. Her stability might be a little bit different. Here, I liked her stability. I think it was very good. Milan mentioned you're shooting a little bit on the side, right? So you want to shoot a little bit more under your forehead. Okay. What else? Maybe keep shooting. Keep shooting. Yeah. 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 Milan, you say? She uses the pass to accelerate power into the ball. That's very good. Yeah, nice backwards rotation. The arm was stretched. It's important that you stretch it. You don't want to stop here, right? Because we talk about the pass and we want to really this thing stretched out. Look at the side hand. Look at the left hand. It stays low, right? So we're shooting kind of like. Do you know why?
Balance.
Do you know why she's doing that? Exactly. It's all stability. So you're shooting, I mean, for a paraplegic, you put your hands up, or it's kind of getting. This arm goes to balance out. That's why the hand stays here. Correct. Yeah, you might be right. Very individual, right? And maybe Nina says, but for playing defense, maybe not so good. And everybody has to find their own way, right? And there are different type of straps. They're wide, they're smaller, they're stretchy, they're rigid. So there's always something. Yeah, but I do like that. And it's also a good example. She's very stable. Class 1s also have to use their backrest very well, right? You have to sit there well. And I mean, chair set up, we haven't talked about that yet. It's also a big field how the chair should be measured and how it should be set up. But that's maybe also something for the future. Maybe it's also time to bring in a technician or something that we can talk about chair set up for players, because it plays a big role, right? It's a big.
Okay with that.
Yeah.
Wojciech knows to do very good measuring.
Yeah.
I'm also in that business.
Okay, good.
And we have lots of people who know, but people in the wheelchair who measure.
Yeah, okay. And I saw that you have quite some nice wheelchairs here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So you measured her?
No, she gets this wheelchair from some other player.
Okay.
She didn't get measured.
Huh? Okay. Okay, so we're gonna just finish this wrap up shooting because obviously there's a lot more to offense than just shooting. Shooting is obviously the finish to our offense, and that's something that you have to work on, but you can also work on a lot on your own. You can work on it as a team. An important aspect of shooting, once you get comfortable with your shot and your shooting percentage goes up, is shooting when you're tired. Okay? Because shooting in a game is shooting when you're under pressure, shooting when you're moving, shooting when you're playing at top speed, shooting when you're pushing hard. And if you don't practice those things, you will not make your shots in a game. So if your team, you're going to a gym and all they do is woo, nice and easy, relaxed shooting, and nobody takes the time either as an individual in your own practice time or as a team to do shooting when you're fatigued, then your game shooting percentages will drop enormously. Or same thing if you're not shooting when you're under pressure. So if you don't have a defender coming up and putting a hand up while you're shooting, and at game speed, not just like I'm shooting here and Nick comes out, smiley face, la la la, and I take my shot and we're all kind of relaxed and easy about it. If you're not practicing your shots at game speed and game intensity, you will not make your shots in a game. So it is very, very important to practice it that way as well. Okay? Form shooting and relaxed shooting is also important. It helps you get your technique, it helps you get your rhythm, but that next step is what makes you game ready and able to score in games. It's the same with layups. If you shoot layups always at half speed and then you have to shoot them at full speed in a game, you're not going to make them.
Shooting under pressure.
Yeah, shooting under pressure and shooting when tired. So as coaches, you can incorporate, not all the time, but once a week or every so often, chair skills and shooting drills so that you're shooting when you're tired.
Can you maybe you shoot normal and when you're tired you have other technique?
Yeah, then your timing and your rhythm and everything in your whole shot changes. Like if that post-up shot that I hit one of, I don't know how many down there, if I'm tired, I'm not going to hit that shot anymore because all that rhythm, that timing, that process of creating power is gone. And then in wheelchair basketball, we need our arms to get up and down the court. It's not like stand-up where you have your legs. If your legs are tired, you still have your arms. In wheelchair, we only have our arms. So if they're tired, then our touch, our feel, all that stuff starts to go away. And so we have to train the endurance of our arms and our shoulders and our hands and our finish and our touch. It's all part of the same thing. And so you have to practice it. And I gave Damian a few drills where you do pushing and shooting at the same time or together. But the important thing is that you're pushing at 100%, that you're not pushing at 50%. And that's where you have to ride your players and yourself to make sure they're pushing 100%. Otherwise, you don't get anything out of the drill. Okay, let's grab a quick drink. So 2 minutes just to drink, and then we'll come back and we'll start working on pick and roll. Okay? Because I'm thirsty. So much talking, I need to drink. Huh? Just a quick drink.
Okay, and you will continue on that.
Yeah, it's very loud.
Okay. Just to blend that side.
Yeah. With your shot, when you're shooting, I didn't want to say too much. It's hard in front of everyone. A little bit softer with your hand. I noticed before you shot, you really extended your fingers. You don't just stay extended, but not like reaching as hard as you can. Just nice and firm, like strong, but not like see how big you can get your hand on the ball, kind of. And then always that follow through, hand into the cookie jar, because you pull back sometimes. Yeah, so always focus on that all the way in and then grab that cookie at the end, okay? But your shot looks nice.
Macedonian teacher to shoot once from the chair. Just provoke.
Well, he's shooting right now from the chair.
Yes, but closer or something like that. Make some push. Please, if you have time.
Okay. Huh? Yeah, I can't even hear myself talk, so it's tough. But yeah. Okay, let's get everyone to come over to this side so that we can hear. Okay, we'll just come in. Nick, can you grab me my board? Yeah, I'll go this way so that... Okay, so when we're talking about offense, now we talked about shooting. We have to obviously get to the offensive end of the court. So if a team's pressing us, we have to work on our chair skills and work on our speed and our press break to get out of our defensive end and into an offensive position. What's important when we do that is that as much as possible, we don't just go straight down the court, try to cross, and then come into our offensive position, okay? That's the first thing. I don't want to talk too much about offensive transition because we could spend 2 days on that. But when we come down, it's important that that first player that gets down the court goes deep down the court, so all the way to the baseline. Okay, so you're either going to the baseline or to the corner, extending that defense. Nick mentioned it a little bit earlier, but you need to draw the defense all the way down into those corners. It opens up a lot for the offense. But if you stop here and the defense can play here, then you make your offensive court that you can use much smaller. And you'll see that sometimes. Teams will attack the elbow here and then maybe the baseline here, but then their offense is only in that half of the court or that 2/3 of the court. And then the 5 defenders only have to guard this much court, which is way easier. But if you make them guard this whole court here or even out that far, then you change your options on offense and you make your offense much more effective. Okay? Once we get into the offensive end, and we looked at it on video a little bit, the pick and roll is very important to wheelchair basketball. In a 5-on-5 offense-defense set, it's very, very important. In transition, we can get numbers, we can get a 5-on-4, a 4-on-3, etc., and take advantage of that. But once all 5 defenders are back and then you're attacking with 5 offensive players, the pick and roll is how you break down the defense. You have to have your best shooter. You take your best shooter usually, and you put them behind a screen. And the screener has to be someone who is a threat rolling to the basket. Okay, so someone who is going to draw a defender. That usually means, usually not always, a higher point player. Okay, a big player, a tall player, or someone who's very strong going to the basket, who can finish with a defender in their face or with chair contact, so that the defense has to help if they jump, okay? And then you establish, like we talked about yesterday, we talked about the defensive side of it, where you have your 2 defenders here. Now on offense, we need our 2 offensive players, okay? Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to let them see too, so it's... Okay, so you want to be behind the screen, and you don't want to be too far behind the screen, because if you're out this far, it's possible for this player to come out and then to play a jump and recover, like we saw on the video there, how the defense jumped out and then they were able to stay with, not get picked, and then get back underneath, and then the offense didn't get anything. So you want to be about a chair length, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, away from the screen, so that these players can't pressure the shot by yo-yoing, like we worked on yesterday, by that going back and forth. They can't put enough pressure to take away the shot, but also that there isn't enough space for this player to easily jump out and get in between and make that difficult for you to get your shot. Okay? We'll walk through in the half court here with those players who are in chairs, the positioning. Again, that chair position of the pick is very important. Okay, but the first thing that needs to happen is this player, when they get the ball, they have to set up where they want to be, where they want to drive off the pick. So if we have our block player low, most likely the most space on the court is going to be this way. So we want this player then to attack high if possible. Okay? If the screen is up higher, which happens depending on the defense and depending on the offense, if the screen is up a little bit higher, then we want this player to attack this way and create space. Creating space off the pick is really, really important. If we come out and set a pick, say that the defense is here, we come out and set a pick, and this offensive player with the ball attacks right here or right here, it's very easy for the one defender left to guard two. Okay, I can keep a chair on here, I can get a hand up here, or I can get a hand up here. We have to create space away from one another. We'll all see this a bit more when we do it in the half court. Okay? That means when this player jumps out, we set a pick. So now we have our two offensive players, and we have one defensive player left. We have to attack away from them. Go towards the baseline in this situation, and then turn. Now this player has to decide, who are they going to guard? Are they going to go here, or are they going to stay here? If the help is coming, there has to be rotation, but there's spacing between these two offensive players. And that's often where teams make mistakes with the pick and roll. They don't get far enough apart. If that's from the low side, so if we're down here, the jump comes, we get a pick, and they attack here. You have to attack towards the elbow, so that we have one player down low and one player on the elbow. We create that space away from one another. Like Nick mentioned, we want to make the rotations for the defense as long as possible. And that could be a half a meter, it could be 3 meters. If we make it longer, we make it harder for the defense. It takes more time and it's more distance for them to travel. Okay? So we're going to go into a 2-on-2 here and talk about it. And we'll position everybody very, very carefully so that you can see how we want to set up a pick and roll and how we then want to attack a pick and roll. Okay? So just stay close to the court, because it's volume-wise, it's hard for us to hear each other right now. But we want to make sure that we're able to, and we'll demonstrate it right here. Okay? So let's get Nina again, and you two guys, and Milan, these four. We'll start with 2-on-2. You can also do this in 2-on-1. Actually, let's start with 2-on-1. So we'll just go with 3. So Milan, you have the ball. Nina, you're setting the block, just because you're actually good. And we'll go with one defender, because then we can just one on defense. So come and play defense. Nina, go between the block and so right here. Okay? And you play defense on the high side, so you're the jump. So you go up high here. You're right here, Nina, on defense. Here. You're on offense. Okay. So Milan wants to find his space, right? About right. So there's not quite enough space for him to get in between. If you're good with your chair, if the player's very good with their chair, they can go a little bit farther away, but not too far. Okay? When he comes out, just very slowly. Okay? Now Nina wants to set this pick. She wants to set the pick on the part of the chair that's closest to the basket. Okay? So here you want to turn and come and set your pick either on this wheel here, like this. And she wants to use the back of her chair and try to face in the direction that she wants to go after that. Okay, so we're quite high up here. So Nina wants to face this direction. She wants to pick that back corner of his chair. And now Milan's going to attack the baseline. And now you want to just pause a second. You can turn your chair as long as you keep contact with him. And then as Milan squares up, the defense has to go, and now you can go to the basket. So it's important for this player to sometimes to wait. We saw that on the video, to kind of pause for a second and see what's happening. What's the defense doing? If this middle defender has come over, then you stay and you keep him. If not, then you go to the basket. To work on your picking technique, you can do this in a 2-on-1 just to practice how to pick and getting that chair contact. It's really, it's a timing thing, it's technique. You have to play with it and you have to do it over and over and over and over again. And to start with, this guy has to play dumb. Okay, he has to just go out and not try too hard to recover. You speed it up as you go. You pick up the speed as you get going. But it has to be slow to start. Okay? So try that again. Okay, we go out. Yep, set the pick. And then you could tell her to go too. Offense is also important for communication. She's trying her darndest to set that pick. She doesn't have eyes in the back of her head. She could check shoulders as much as possible, but Milan can say, Nina, go. And then Nina knows right away, okay, I don't even have to look. In my turn, I can turn to the basket. She could turn her shoulder and look to see where the ball is, catch that ball, and then take the shot. Okay? Okay, so it's something you're gonna have to work on with your team. When we get into situations where Milan is a little bit farther from the basket, and we go out and jump, and Nina, just wait, don't do anything. So he goes out and he jumps on Milan. We have an aggressive defense early. Milan now has to decide, okay, which way do I want to attack? Where is the space? So Milan looks. Where would you like to go here? Would you like to go to the baseline or would you like to come high? High. Okay, so first you have to attack the baseline, and now Nina comes up and picks the back of his wheelchair. So when we have more spacing, it is up to the player with the ball to set up that defender to get picked. It's very hard to pick the front of a defender. Okay, so just let me try. So if I come in here and I try to pick the front of his chair, he just recovers back in, right? He pulls back and he's back in, and now we're running into one another. So picking the back of someone's wheelchair is much, much easier. So Milan needs to turn him first, and I can come in here, and then as he attacks low, I want to get that pick, and now we have our space. Okay, where Milan can attack, or if my defender goes to Milan, then I can go to the basket. Okay, so I would recommend with your teams, especially when you're starting, work on this in a 2-on-1. You only need one defender. You work on your picking technique, where you read that defender, you do it very slowly, you come out, you do that. It used to be called a banana cut, where you come out in a big curve. I would say you don't want to come out. Old school was like this. You come all the way out, big curve. That's now, in today's game, that's too slow. Okay, so you want to be you want to come at sort of the middle of their chair with your wheel on the side, on one side. So I'm coming out, let's say I'm trying to pick Milan, he's obviously got the ball right now, but I want to pick that side of his chair. So this wheel is in the middle of his bumper, and then I turn and pick that corner of his chair. It's a very short, it's not a pivot, but it's a very short turn. And that's a lot quicker than that big cut. Because also with defenses now, my defender, if I start going this way, he's not going to let me come back that way, right? But if I come straight at Milan, and then a quick turn. I'm right into that position. I'm in the angle I want to go in. I can turn and get contact the other way. That's a very important motion for that pick. Okay, but it starts in a lot of respects with Milan setting up that defender. When that distance is far between the pick. When it's not, you know automatically that he's going to have to go out, and then you know which way you're going. Okay? Then you want to add the second defender so that, you can come in. So, Nina, go back. So now you're making the read, go out. Again, we're doing it slowly. Nina, come into the block. Okay, let's go one high and one low on defense. Yeah, one low. Okay, so we jump from high. Nina goes and sets the pick. Milan attacks the baseline. Make sure, wait, Nina, wait. We missed that pick, right? We let the defense recover in. So come back here. Nina, you have to have that chair contact, right? He jumped out and you picked, but then you went beside him. So he jumped and then you pushed in next to him here as he turned, and he was able to just keep going. Okay? Make sure that we're keeping chair contact. It's really important. As I come around here, Nina has to not let me. At first she picked here, and then he turned, but make sure I can't keep going. Okay? And Milan, your job too, make sure that you don't push away, because if you push away, I come this way, Nina backs up, Nina gets a foul. Okay? So you have to keep that gap. You don't have to make it really little, but don't let enough for my chair to go through. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so jump. Nice and slow, nice and slow. Yeah. And there we go. Don't forget to tell her, right? Yes. Nina, go. Okay? And shot fake. So when you come in here, if you just sit here like this with the ball ready to pass, right? If we don't draw that defender, like if Milan's here with the ball back here, his defender knows he's not going to shoot it. So he can then play in between. But as soon as Milan squares up and shows that he's going to shoot, then the defender has to come all the way, and then he has that opportunity to just drop the pass into Nina going to the basket. Okay, let's go again. Yeah, there you go. And Nina did that really well. She went a little bit away from Milan with a little bit of a curve so that she created a little bit more space to get that pass. If it's a really big player, like if you were rolling to the basket, maybe you could just go straight. You won't need to make that curve, but a lower point player will need to make that curve to create that space. Okay? So you can work this and practice this over and over and over and over again. And these are things that, guys, you can do when you don't have 10 people in practice. So often we have a hard time with wheelchair basketball getting 10, 11, 12 players in practice. If you only have 4 players in practice, you can do this. You can work on your yo-yo defense. You can work on jump and recover defense. You can work on pick and roll. All those things you can work on in a 2-on-2. And then we get into 3-on-3. When we add our middle defender. So Nick, can you come here on offense, please? So we give the ball to Nick, and then you start like you do in a game most of the time, often with the ball in the middle. And now you can work on the defense in a triple switch, and then you add how important holding that pick is. Okay, so let's say we jump here. We're doing our pick and roll. We set the pass the ball to Milan. Sorry. Okay, Nina holds it. Nina now has to read. The offense has to read. If the help comes, you have to hold him. I was there, so you have to hold that pick, because if you don't, he recovers and that shot goes away. If I don't come, then you go straight to the basket. Okay?
It's really important, right? I mean, Nina will create the problem on the rotation. If she stays with the picker for a while, it puts so much pressure on.
So go. Just keep going slowly. It's good to go. It's good to keep it slowly. Okay. If I come here, no, keep him. Hold him. Yeah. Don't let him come back. Don't let him go middle, and don't let him go back to. Don't let him get back inside on defense.
Do you know what often happens? Players like to watch the ball. And you see Nina, no offense, but you're passing the ball and Nina's like, oh, I'll go this way. So do your job, right? Don't follow the ball. There's big business to do. Okay, pass, jump, hold the pick, hold the pick.
Yeah, see, I'm worried about you, and now he's wide open in the middle. Okay? Then the next step with the defense is when you play against teams that are better, they'll bring another defender over, then you make one more pass. Okay? So, but it all starts from right here, from a pick and roll, from running that properly, from setting a good pick, from creating contact on the pick. Because if you don't do that, it's too easy for the defense to recover, to get back in, to either jump and recover or to triple switch. And then every shot you take is going to be under pressure. Every shot you take is going to be hard. You want to create the easiest shot you can. Okay? And
one more thing.
Yeah.
And you triple switching come back to me when
Okay.
she goes to pick and then she goes for the layup.
Okay.
Okay, now what we're doing, Janet goes for the triple switch. You keep holding the pick, right? But then Janet comes back to me because she's worried of me shooting, and then we have a layup for you. So we show them. But a little bit closer. Okay. Pass, jump. Good.
Hold the pick, hold the pick.
Hold pick. Now she comes back, and now.
And stay there.
It all happens, right? When we put pressure on Janet, and she has to make a decision whether she likes my shot more or she wants to take the layup away, and she has to play. But often players just like to watch the ball, right? Ball goes here, she goes for that layup.
Situation, if Milan stays down there, so go back to the baseline. You have the pick. So Milan's got the ball to start with. Okay, we go out behind Nina. Okay, Nina's got the hold there. You go to that side. I come over. Just wait, don't go yet. Ball to the middle. Wait. I go back, and we've beat them once. We've got this layup from Nina one time. So now he comes to Nina. You come to Nina. Nina goes to the basket. Stay. He keeps space. And now he's got a wide open shot. If he goes to the basket, he's not open. But if he stays there, he's open. Most of the time, this player will try to come back to the middle. Okay? And that guy's then open. So there's your pick and roll, your middle shot, your layup for the roller after the ball's gone to the middle, and your shot for that guy after. You have 4 options with 3 players on offense if you run a good pick and roll. And then a whole nother world opens up when you add those 2 other guys on the other side. Okay? So it seems like it's something that is hard to work on. Let's come back together so we can talk a little bit, because it's I'm tired from yelling. So this 3-on-3, it's not 3x3. Okay? It's very important to recognize the difference between 3-on-3 practices in a 5-on-5 setup compared to 3x3. Those are 2 whole different worlds. Okay? And 3-on-3 in practice, you can work on, to start with, that player in the middle can cut to the basket, because you will get those looks in a game. When teams don't triple switch well, they look to help. That middle might be wide open. So you can have players cut down so that you get the reads out of that. Then you can put the rule in, no cutting from the middle. So you work on your shooting from the middle a little bit. But that 3-on-3 is something that you can spend a huge amount of time practicing. Okay? We do it in our practices. I don't care if we have 12. If we have 12, we go 2 courts of 3-on-3. Okay? If we have 9, we go 3 on 3 on 3 on 3, and we play 3 on 3 all day long. Okay? If we have 6, we play 3 on 3. If we have 7, we do 3 on 3 with an extra pass. Okay? Because that 3 on 3 is the basis of your 5 on 5 attack in wheelchair basketball. And if you can't do that, pick and roll 3 on 3 offense correctly, the rest of it's not going to work. Okay? I need another drink, so let's take a break. And let's go out and get some fresh air too, because it's warm in here. 10 minutes, yeah.
Okay, 10-minute break. Let's move the break.
We have water. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Want some chocolate or something?
No, thanks.
I'm okay. Just one thing.
No, it's here.
Yeah, it's a bit challenging.
That is what it is. No, it's not. It's normal. It's basketball. That's always like that.
We didn't plan on having the first division Philippine league. So
Yeah, it's Philippines.
you can go check. It's crazy.
I went over, yeah.
I wanted to ask you after we finish, but it's okay now.
What I did, I put 3 sessions now, €500, generation sessions, and myself 1 session. And this is a flight.
Okay.
And we need that 1 extra bag on the way back.
Everything's good.
Okay? And it is with reverse charge procedure, no taxes.
Okay. So I paid this.
That goes within, yeah.
So these are the details.
That's where it comes from.
So this is
The federation address.
they want me to wait. I'll do it like this.
Oh, you sending it to me?
On WhatsApp.
Yeah.
So this is everything. This is our back number. This is Hrvatski Savez Košarke coaching. That's International Federation. The address and like the city where it's located. So
Okay, and I'll put that in and I'll send it to you.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good.
We will pay midweek this week. To the rest.
Yeah.
what those players are doing and not, create kind of a complex for players. Or you play on the weak side, well, you're not that good a player. No, you play on the seal side because that's still a very important aspect. And then we'll talk about just the shot to start with, but then the spacing and the timing of the seal, how we set that up again. So that we're looking at the timing and the spacing of the seal. It's tough to do. Guys that are in jitters don't really understand it, so it's hard to do. But maybe I have to get a little bit more involved and be that player that's moving that a bit more. But Nina understands, Milan understands, so I try to understand.
I can also.
I don't want to insult you.
I also, whenever possible, we need to be closer together because we started and don't feel rushed to start. Make your breaks too, because they're also talking stuff right because if you don't say anything, they might make and maybe have more. It is different.
It's also hard because I want to make sure that, like, I'm not waiting for people who maybe are translating, right? So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that they're translating and not just yammering about what they're doing. Like, I don't know, so it's like that understands. It's always nice when the smoke is sitting right at the door. It's always nice when the smoke is sitting right at the open door.
Ako košarka u kolicima ikad izumre,
Okay, let's come in down here. Okay. Okay, come over here. Thank you. Okay, so we've talked about, we're still missing people, but oh well. We've talked about what happens on the power side, on that side that is so important to the start of our offense. But we still have 5 players on the court. Okay, we can't forget about the other 2, and sometimes that happens. Sometimes teams get so focused on getting the ball to their shooter, they forget about these other guys. We'll work on this side too, just because we're all here and we'll keep it close. Okay, but we can't forget. That side has 2 purposes. Okay, one thing is to keep those 2 defenders busy so they can't help. Okay, and if I'm on that side with Nina and we do our job and we're always attacking and we're moving and we're attacking the defenders and they can't help, we're either going to get a shot from the middle, a layup in the middle even, or a layup on the roll, or a shot on that strong side. So if we do our job and we score over there, then that's also because of what we've done. So we can't forget those players, okay? Often, that's a low pointer and a high pointer or a mid pointer. Not always, but it's important to recognize what they do to make the offense work, okay? So always recognize those players, because in wheelchair basketball, often we forget to tell the low pointers what an awesome job they're doing and how important they are to our offense and to our defense. We can come in a little bit closer because it's even... I don't know why they need a speaker and an announcer over there for their own benches, but anyway, that's not the point. So one of the things that is a habit for us is to call that side a weak side on offense and on defense. We're trying to get away from that and say the seal side. We're either guarding the seal side or we're playing the seal side, because it is the weak side sort of tends to indicate that it's not strong, it's not a part of the offense, but it is very important. So we call it a seal side. Even if there's a shot over there, a seal side has a lot more meaning to it than a weak side. Okay, so that's the first thing.
Who knows what a seal is in wheelchair basketball? Do you know what a seal is? Seal, sometimes you call it trailer. You know? Okay. And then we're getting there.
I think you guys know. You just the word and explaining it is, yeah.
The low goes into the key, the big guy follows and chases. How do you call that?
A word in your language. We call it a seal because you are sealing off the defense, so the defense can't recover. So that's generally what we mean. And it's when it's motion and one's following the other, then that's a seal. And when we stay stationary and just stop the player from jumping out, then that's from to the other offensive player, then that's a screen. So we'll go through both of those right now. And again, this is something you can work your 2-on-2 offense or your 3-on-3, depending on how many players you have at practice. So when we say to play, it doesn't define how you can work within your practices. I've played on a ton of teams also in the first German league, and this year we had a ton of months where we didn't have 10 players in practice because of injuries or illnesses or various things. You can't control that. You could have 15 players on your roster, but if only 9 come to practice, you still have to have a practice. So these are things that you can work on, and these drills are great when you have lots of players or when you only have a few.
Maybe what I want to mention, because that's what we decided in Germany 20 years ago. We defined what names we want to give to certain actions, like seal. We wanted to make sure that in Germany everybody uses the same terms, the same terminology. That when we have exchange, that we know what we're talking of, and not someone calls it seal, another one calls it trailer, and we pretty much went with the English terms, because when we have exchange, we also want our coaches to understand the American coaches or the Canadian. So maybe that's something you always also want to think about within the coaching education. Have a terminology that everybody speaks about the same thing, whether it's pushes, help side defense, sagging. We all have these words defined what it means.
We talked about that within your team, but if it comes, like if you have like you organize that from above and then it comes down to the teams what your terms are, you may have a few other things that you use within your team that are different, but the main words, the main terms are a blanket across all, then it makes it easier when you all come together too, and that when the national team comes together, that they haven't used one word in this club team and another word in that club team, and then, oh God, we got to use another one for the national team. It's like learning 3 different languages. It's a pain in the ass. So, okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through the seal side as a shooting option, and then as the timing for the seal, because the timing on the seal is very, very important as to how the help goes. And I know, guys, it's really loud, so if you need time to translate because you can't hear to understand, just put your hand up and I'll stop and you guys can help each other translate, because it's extra hard to hear, okay? All right, so what happens is let's pretend we have 3-on-3 on that side, okay? On this side, Nina, you go on the low block, and then Milan, you can pick a defender. Give me the ball. Or actually, Nick, you go in the middle with the ball. So pick one of these two guys to be on defense with you. Okay, now if you can go and guard, just go where Nick is. If we haven't made that middle defender move because we haven't run a good pick and roll, and we haven't run a power side that's been effective, it's very easy for these guys to guard me and Nina, right? Because it's just 2-on-2 defense. They're both defenders. They can either jump or they can play a yo-yo. They can be really aggressive with their defense, and they know they still have help there in the middle. Okay, so that's where we talk about how important that power side is. We have to get our defender here to go over to the other side, and then we have to get our high defender here to think about Nick in the middle. Is he going to the basket, or is he going to be a shooter? So once we get that defender, this high defender moving, so that's our job, okay? We get that high defender moving. And if Milan stays in on Nina, and Nina can't get a seal, she can't go to the basket, Milan just stops her right there. It's a great, and I'm a good shooter. Nick can pass me the ball, and I'm ready to catch and shoot. And that's a very high percentage shot because we're close to the zone, okay? It's difficult for this player to guard because Nina's going to stop him from jumping out. And that's what we would call a screen. Okay, so Nina's setting a screen. I'm not following her. She's just preventing. She's setting like a wall that Milan can't come and guard me. That's the easiest, the simplest way for us to get a shot over here. Okay? And it happens when that high player is a little bit worried about what's happening on the other side. He doesn't have to go all the way over there, but if he's concerned about Nick or about what's happening on the power side, then he's not going to jump out on me. And then Nina can worry about just stopping Milan, and then I have an open shot here. Okay, when defenses get a little bit more experienced, okay, and that defender goes all the way to the middle, so you go to guard Nick. Now we have a 2-on-1. And yes, we can always get the shot from the outside, but what would we rather have? What would we prefer to have rather than an outside shot? What's a higher percentage shot? A layup, right? Or something right inside the zone. So now we want to try to set up our offense. Sorry guys, I feel like no one can hear me right now. We want to try to set up our offense to get spacing. Okay? We want to space this out. So if we know a team is sending their defender, their fourth man, we call that their fourth man. If their fourth man is going to help, then we look to set up a seal. Yeah. So come in very close because it's on the table. Can you get another pen, the box of pens? Damien, are they finished in there? No? No? No, I'm fine if I have. Yeah, guys, come in as close as you can get because yelling is not very pleasant for me either. You guys? Yeah, I mean, I can't. It's hard for me to show anything in the gym because nobody can hear me. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna walk through the spacing here a little bit in the chairs, so for the camera, and then we'll go outside and we'll explain it all where I don't have to yell with the board.
Describe it here first,
okay,
so that people know what they have to do.
Okay, so we have our two offensive players, our two defense. and they're a middle player. Okay.
I'm sorry, they're gonna end for 7 minutes.
In 7 minutes?
Yeah,
Oh.
it's over.
Shall we have a 7-minute break, maybe?
Yeah, let's break until they're done, and then we'll come back.
We are not limited with the time here in the gym.
Okay. Yeah, let's stop until they're finished, because. Break again. I can only yell so often. It's not my voice, it's my head. When I yell, I get a headache. So.
Mare, eno ga grlete u brat. Ej, brat.
Make them turn the microphone off. Okay, so we talked about the screen already, where Nina can block this player from jumping out so that Milan can get a shot. That's great if we have someone who can shoot a very high percentage from behind the screen. But often we have a player who's maybe a little bit better closer to the basket over here, and we want to try to use that. We want to get a higher percentage shot, which is under the basket as much as possible. Okay, there are two ways to do the screen, but I'll show you the one that's generally the most effective right from at the beginning. Okay, so when we recognize that this player is going to the middle to help, so our fourth man, defender, and is leaving us with a 2-on-1 on that side, we want to set up a seal. So that means instead of sitting behind one another like we are here, we want to spread out a little bit. So Milan wants to attack the baseline, and Nina can just slide up a little bit off the block. And now this defender has to decide who he's going to guard. Okay, is he going to guard Milan or is he going to guard Nina? And often what will happen is they'll slide down a little bit. So Milan really attack down low, down there. Yeah, so he has to go. And now Nina can set a seal, be close to him. Yeah, and Milan does we can do a U-turn, a V-cut, those chair skills we talked about. And now he's going to follow Nina, and you keep going. Keep going. And you tell her to keep going. You tell her, you slow down, stop, push through, and now I'm here, and we have that pass for the layup on that side. Okay? This seal over the top, we would say that's over the top, is effective when you have a very big defender on the baseline. Because if this guy down here is very, very big, it's hard to pass over top of him. So this way you're setting up that seal so that he cannot get between you, like between the two offensive players, and stop that pass from happening. Okay, and it's the easiest one. Now we talk about our timing on this. You have to recognize as this, on this side, Nick, come over here. As Nick goes to help on the triple switch, you have to attack the baseline. Okay, you see him going, you attack the baseline. And as I go, now you set that seal. Okay? Because if we don't time it that way, then this guy can come back and help. Or I'm still sitting here and Nina's trying to seal, then she's in the key and she has to get out of the key, and by the time she comes back in, then the defense has recovered. So it's very important that you keep your space. You can go up a little bit higher if you need to, and you really want to attack this guy. So as soon as you see me start to go, you take one hard push. So if I'm this player, go be the middle, the defender there. So I've attacked the baseline. I see Milan going to the middle. I push one hard push here, and now I follow over the top. And yeah. Yeah, and it's really so many players, and I'm going to say this probably 5 more times before we're finished today. So many big players, they sit down here and they see this happening, and Nina starts to set a seal, and they just go and they follow. And then this defender just slides in, stops the low pointer, and then there's no seal. So you have to, as this player, it's this player's job to make sure he has to play defense, right? I go here, and if Nina's already sealed him twice, maybe he doesn't go to, he stays with Nina, and then I can come in all the way around underneath, and then I get a layup from that side. But as soon as he comes to me, then Nina can set that pick, and if I need to, I do my U-turn, right? And I come over the top, and here I can decide, do I go all the way in because the defense is really extended far away and I have all this space, or as Nina sets that seal and he tries to come back a little bit and he tries to recover you get underneath in front of Nina. Yeah, and he stops Nina, and I say, okay, well, I'm going to use Nina now as a screen. And I stop right behind Nina, and I use Nina as a screen. And now, instead of me shooting from way out here, I'm shooting from right inside the zone. Okay? But it's very important, the timing. And the only way you'll get the timing right is if you practice it and practice it and practice it. And again, you can break this down into a 3-on-3. You could do it with 5 players, so you have one guy there. He slaps the ball, the defender goes, you practice your spread, your timing. You can do it 3-on-3 or with 4-on-3 with a coach on that side as a coach. You slap the ball, the middle defender goes, pass to the middle, the high defender goes. Slow it down. Start slow. Practice that timing. Make sure the players do the little things, like fake to the baseline, draw that defender, and now I can follow Nina behind. Okay? One thing you don't want to do, especially it's easy to get caught doing that when you're running it without that other side, is that this player then goes, oh, look, all this space over here. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to shoot from over here. Because there are 2 defenders and 2 offensive players over here, there's no space on this side of the court. You can put cones to remind your team. You can put chairs. You can put a bench. You can, if they're having trouble remembering that this is no-go, put something there so they can't go there. Okay? And then break this down one thing at a time, slowly, each step. Because these guys, these are low pointers who do this, are absolutely amazing at their job. And we have to use them, and it's our job as the other player, that player behind, to give them the chance to be successful. Okay? If we don't do that, then all their work is for nothing. Okay?
This is where the brain is with the low pointer. Okay? They bring the brain to the game. They have the timing. They have to communicate to their big what they have to do. We all find that the big just like want to keep going under the smart part into the game. So this is the timing. And so we have to, as coaches, also make sure we're always giving enough credit to the low pointers, right? If the big guy goes in here, easy to make a shot for a big, right? But the difficult part is that the low pointer brings our big in here. And what you also want to make sure that the hard work from the low pointers is not getting wasted. We have to watch for 3 seconds here. Because you very often see that the low pointers going in here for the field, big guy goes behind, and the low pointer this doesn't matter, right? You wanna pick the right timing. Because you saw it with Janet. We want to use our low pointers also as a spacer to have some room between the defender and the shooter so the shot gets easier. But the timing has to be right, and you don't have to leave and you go out. For referees, what counts is if you put your head down and you start pushing. That kind of like signals the referee, okay, he wants to leave the key. If you get stuck then, that's not so much a problem, right? You say, okay, we're trying, but you get the key. Exactly.
It's not 3 points.
Then not. Yeah, exactly.
And you can fake that a little bit. You can pretend that you're trying to get out of the key. For like 1 second, you have the ability to fake it. So you come in, so you get in there, and you know the defense is there, and you go, oh, I'm trying to get out. Oh, I'm trying to. Oh, I can't. Oh, where am I going? And then you buy your teammate another extra little bit of time. But you have to see how the refs call it.
Sometimes the big players do that too. They pinch their low pointers in there. The low pointer is stuck, but we still use it as a spacer, right? To not have so much pressure on the shooter.
Yeah. And don't forget, this is how we've just talked about how our low pointer gets the big pointer a shot, or the higher point player or the shooter a shot from the outside, or gets them a nice seal for a layup. Don't forget, we can pass to that player too, okay? And that's also a very good option with our low pointers, and it's important that we give them the ball in those situations. So let's, can we have a ball? So defense has gone to the middle. The ball comes over here. Nina's tried really hard to block this defender, but she doesn't want to pick up a foul, so she doesn't want to cause too much problem. He comes out, he comes to me, Nina goes right to the basket, and she's wide open because there we've done a great job on the power side drawing a jump. We've got contact on their chair, they can't recover. They have to go to the middle because our shooter in the middle is going to make them pay every time. Now we have a 2-on-1 and we have to use that. So we talked about it, we have 4 offensive options on the power side that we talked about. And now we have a shot from here, a seal from here, and a pick and roll from here. So now we have another 3. That's 7 different offensive reads from one offensive set. Okay, and that's when we have a low pointer on this side, a shooter in the middle, and a power side. There are all kinds of other reads that we can make in different setups, but we don't need to get into all of that stuff today.
The ball is on the high post here.
Yep.
Your fake movement to the baseline.
Yep. Yep. He comes, yeah. And now.
And you will go out, she make you.
Yeah.
She make you walk.
Yeah. Yeah. If I don't make that fake, he stays close to Nina. And if the ball comes to, we might get the pick and roll then. The ball comes to me, and then he comes when the ball comes, and then Nina goes to the basket. But it's still, the timing is. In wheelchair basketball, the movement without the ball is huge. It's crossing, whether it's creating space, whether it's picking, whether it's sealing, whatever it is, so much happens without the ball in wheelchair basketball. And that's what we have to remember. And the work that's done off ball and the work that's done by the low pointers creates a huge amount. Whether they get the ball and are able to score out of it or not, which they should when they're open, but if they don't and we score, they're the reason why. Yeah, that's a different thing. If we want to create a mismatch on the weak side, if we have a great post-up shooter, then we look to isolate. Say Nina and I are here. Let's go. Okay, Milan, for example, I'm a smaller player. Nina, you're on defense. Okay. And let's say the defense starts out that Milan's low and we've got a big matchup and I'm a little, just pretend I'm really little. Okay. And Nina's guarding me. What we want to do is we want to create a mismatch for Milan. So I'll go from here, I'll attack high, and then maybe I'll attack low, I'll come around the bottom, I'll pretend I'm trying to seal, he has to stop me. Now Milan wants to go up outside, like you can go in the zone or just outside the zone, within your shooting range, and now you have a mismatch on there. And if they want to switch, it's a much longer rotation. If you stay right here, he can guard both of us. Remember, I'm little, so you want to create that space. Again, spacing is really important. Okay, so make sure that you focus on those little things. The timing, the chair fakes, the ball fakes, the spacing. Those are the things that are going to make your offense work. Okay, it's that discipline, that execution, attention to detail, especially on offense, that is what is going to make you successful offensively and give you lots of options. And the ability to use all 5 players on the court and not just your top scorer. Okay? I think we're... Yeah. Yeah, you have all kinds of different options on that side and then on this side as well. And the defense can't take everything away. If you do the little things, you're gonna get a good shot. Whether you make it or not, you're not gonna make all your easy shots. You miss your layups every now and again, it happens. But if you get those opportunities, then you're running a good offense. Okay? Guys, I want to say thank you very much for this. It's been awesome. Yeah, let's do one in front of the, yeah. Want to do a picture?
Thank you.